At this point, we're finally ready to actually make use of the user's logged in status. Let's take a look at a mock-up here. We saw this briefly before. So this is the kind of thing we'd like to see after a successful login. In particular, you can see that we've got a change in the link. So here's home help login. Here we've got home help users, and then an account link and a little drop-down menu with the profile link, settings, and log out. The way we're going to get that is by first defining a helper called logged in. It's a Boolean, so logged in question mark. So def logged in. And this will be true if the user in the session, that is to say current user, is not nil. So let's do that with bang current user dot nil question mark. So if the current user is nil, the user is not logged in, so bang of that just negates it. So if the current user is not nil, then the user is logged in. We can make use of this in the site layout. Let's take a look at that. Remember, the layout's in application.html.erb. And the main thing we want to do from the mockup is to change these links in the header. So let's open up the header. It's actually here, this guy. So it turns out we don't need the layout, we just need the header. So these links will be common to the two cases, but we only want to show the login link if the user is not logged in. So let's do that. If logged in, we'll put this in a moment. Else, this. Can save that, and actually we should take a look at this. This link here should disappear because we are logged in right now. And there it goes. You can see that link disappeared. So this is now putting to use this login or logged in method. So now let's make some links for the case of a user being logged in. Do this here. Make a link to the users. This will eventually be a listing of all the users on the site. But we don't actually have that page yet, so I'm just going to stub it out for now. And then I'm going to make that drop-down menu. So this is some special Bootstrap code. So li, this is a class of drop-down. Here we're actually going to put in a stub link, but this is not a stub for what will be filled in. This is actually something that indicates that there isn't an href. This is actually being manipulated using Bootstrap's JavaScript. We'll see how to include that in a moment. Again, this is specific to Bootstrap, this data toggle. And let's make a link here. It's going to say account. Let's make it bold. It's actually an empty tag here. Again, this is specific to Bootstrap. So we finish that link. Now let's put in actually ul dot dropdown menu. And let's link to the profile. We're just filling in this stuff here. Profile settings. So the profile is going to be a link to, so you put link to in here. It's going to be linked to the user. And that user we have right here. The user is current user. So what we can do here is, we could do this. We could do user path of current user. But as with redirects, in this context, we can omit the user path part. We can just say link to profile current user, and Rails knows what to do with that. It converts this automatically to the right path. Now let's make a link to the settings. we haven't made this yet, so I'll just stub it out. Let's put in a divider. And now I'm going to link to the logout. So I need to put link to. And we actually do have a path for this. Recall, we've got logout path, named route. So let's put that in. Of course, it doesn't work yet, but the route works. And because this is a delete request, we have to actually tell Rails that in the link. You need to say that this is a method delete that arranges for this link to issue the right kind of request. All right, let's save that and take a look at our page. Oh, it looks like there's a syntax error. Oh, right, it says users there. So this should be link to. You probably noticed that, but I did not, obviously. Cool, now you can see we've got this users link, again, just stubbed out, and then we've got this account drop-down menu. But if you click on this, you can see it just gives us this stub. That's from this here, right here. I mentioned briefly before that this is actually going to be handled by Bootstrap's JavaScript, so we need to add that. There's an application.js file. It's an app assets. Or is it? It's an app assets JavaScript, application.js. And so we just need to add one thing in here. Bootstrap comes with some JavaScript, and we can do this here. After this, we do save that, and I think this will now work. And go here. Look at that. Now the drop-down menu works. We can go to the profile, which is the same page. We can go to settings, which doesn't exist. Go to logout, which doesn't work. So right now only the profile works, but we can click over here, go to the home page, click on the profile. There we go. At this point, we have a working implementation of the simplest of the 3 login systems we'll be using. This is one that uses the session here, the session helper. And this cookie created by the session disappears as soon as we close our browser and restart it. Now, I don't want to restart this browser here because I'm running the Cloud9 IDE, so I'm going to open up a different browser to test it out. Let's copy this here. Use Opera here, and you can see here I'm not logged in, so I can click on Login. Oops, look at that. Ah, I guess I forgot to do that. So we actually want to change this now that we're editing the header. Here we go, we've got this stub. Let's change it here. We actually have a login path, so let's save that and refresh it. Here we go, so now this should work. Great. So let's log in as example at railstutorial.org. So that worked. You can see the layout links changed. We've got the account, profile, and so on. So let me quit this. I'm just going to quit Opera. Restart it. And now you can see that the login link has reappeared. So the session has been forgotten. The next more sophisticated technique will be to remember that and persist the login status even if the user closes the browser.